Okay, we're at 14, and because 14 is the even number, that means the carriage is on the left-hand side because we started here. So 1, 2, all of the even courses are going to be over here. And we're going to modify this on the fly. So I have, in the pattern, I have the rib going up to 15, but because we're doing striping, I'm going to skip this last number 15. We're going to stop at 14 and do a change color. But before we do that, we need to reform the stitches for the rib. All right, so that's what we're going to do now. And the way we do that, I'm going to move this weight down to the bottom again. The way we do that is we basically, by hand, we'll undo this stitch down to a certain point and then use our crochet hook to do what's essentially a back knit, because this is the front of the machine, this is the back. We're going to do a back knit on the rows that are green here. All right, so in order to reform these stitches using back knit, first we want to capture, we don't want it to undo all the way down to the bottom. We want to capture it at row number 4. And so we already had, there's 2 here, 3, 4, and we're starting at the 4th one in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to capture this. There's 1, 2, right here. All right, so this whale goes all the way up to needle 4, and we're on course number 4. And we're going to do the same thing all the way across, basically every other whale, all the way over to this side. And we're going to stop 3 short of the end, same as the pattern. All right, continue doing this every other whale until you get to the end. All right, I'm going to meet you over here. Okay, last one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 down. We're over here. Now, I should have mentioned this earlier, but be careful to only capture one yarn in this safety pin, and you want that to be coming in from the side. So you're catching the loop. You don't want to come in from an angle where you're catching multiple loops here. You want to come in from the side. Make sure you're just capturing the one yarn that is this loop here on the right whale or column in the right course or row. Okay. All right. Now we're going to reform the stitches that make up these back stitch for the rib. And the way we do that is we'll start here, push the needle all the way out, and then when you pull it back with a little bit of tension, the latch closes, and when you pull it back, you've lost that stitch. Now you're going to let it ladder. I'm using an upholstery needle. Let it ladder all the way down till you get to where you've captured that loop, and then use essentially your crochet needle here. You come through the loop, capture that first ladder, make sure that the latch is open, and then when you pull it, you've got it through the loop, and then when you pull it back, the latch closes. And now I've done essentially a back stitch. Remember, this is the front, this is the back. So now I've done a back stitch. I'm using this upholstery needle to hold that stitch, and I come and do the next one, like so. So I'm just stitching it back all the way up, but I'm doing back stitches instead of front stitches. All right, you just keep continuing to do that all the way up. to get to the top. Let's see here. All right, now once you get to the top, take your needle, pull the needle back out, make sure the latch is open, and then put the yarn back on top, that last stitch back on top. All right, now we're going to do the rest of these, but we're going to do them in a specific pattern because we want the tension to be a little bit more even. All right, so you may have noticed that when we undo this this wale, this column of stitches, that the tension has sort of has changed a little bit. The tension isn't the same as the neighboring stitches. And so what I like to do is, so that this doesn't, I don't want to just progress all the way over here and then have this tension sort of like be ununiform as it comes all the way across. So what I do is I like to reform these in a pattern that would reduce that. So what I like to do is I do every other rib from one side to the other, work my way in, and then go backwards, catching the ones that that I skipped. So I've done this one. My next one will be over here. I'll do this one, and then I'll come back. I'm going to skip this one and then move to this one. And we'll do that till we get to the center, and then we'll work our way back out. And it's not critical, but in my opinion, this sort of helps to keep the tension uniform across the full width of the wrist. All right, we're going to keep moving on. Okay, so now we're doing this end. Again, push it forward. The latch closes. When I pull it out, the stitch is released from the needle. And then we let this ladder all the way down to where we're holding it with our little clip. And then we work our way back up. All right, now this is a little bit tedious, and if you had a ribber attachment, you would not have to do this, but this is, in my opinion, this is a lot cleaner than, looks a lot nicer than if you did something where you just left a gap there. All right, and then we put this back on. All right, and so then the next one we'll do over here, not this one, but this one. All right. And do this all the way up. All right, I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to alternate here from left to right, until we get to the middle, and then I'll meet you when we're in the middle, but making sure to skip, do every other wale, every other column here in this rib. Okay, we're finishing up the last one in the middle. A couple more stitches. All right. Finish up the last one that came in the middle. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4. We went from here to the middle. Now we're going to go back to this, the one that's in between these two, and we're going to pick up this one. And in theory, this should help even out the tension, because now I'm not letting the tension sort of like spread across. It's being captured by these two. So I'm going to reform the stitches on this one, and then we'll do, so we did this one, and then we're going to do this one, this one, this one, this one, alternating until we get down to the end. All right, so I'm going to do this, and I'll meet you back when we finish doing all of them. So just work your way back and forth until you get to these last ones. All right, see you on that side. Okay, so we finished reforming our stitches for our rib. Now, honestly, this is a total pain. It takes a lot of time, but the effect is going to be really nice when you're done. I plan on making a design of this that's a 2-bed machine, which would then mean that you're going to get these ribs just as easily as you do the jersey or the stockinette. But that's something for the future, so keep an eye out for that. All right, now based on our pattern, we're at number 14. We've decided that this is where we're going to do our color change. We're going to skip the rib on that 15th row, but we are going to do our color change here. And so we're going to take the yarn out of the carriage, and we want to leave, we're going to weave this tail in. So we want to leave about like that much, and then we're going to cut this about there. All right. We can cut it even shorter after we've done the weave in. And then we're going to take our new yarn, which is this blue, and I'm going to pull this last needle out and then put it back in the knit position. And then we're going to put our yarn about here. Yeah, put it right about there. All right, we're adding in our second yarn color, and we're going to tape it to this weight here. And what we want is we want it to come, we actually want it to be on the inside of this needle. These are in the non-knitting forward position, and when this carriage comes across, it's going to catch this first needle, but we also want to weave in. We want to weave in this yarn, right? But we're going to start weaving it in on the second needle. So we're going to pull these out. We want roughly the number of needles that the length of this is, and we're going to start by coming in, not the first needle, but the second one. Actually, we need to put these in the knitting position first. All right, I'm skipping the first one because I don't want too much going on. This one's coming in new on the first one, so I'm going to start on the second one and start weaving this in, and we go over, under, over, under, over, under, like so. Till we get to the end, and we want this last one to come, I like it to have it coming down. All right, and then we're going to, just going to push these back a little bit. All right, so now we're ready to move our carriage over. All right, everything's ready. We've got our yarn in our carriage, our new yarn. Remember, this has to be on this side of that first needle, but on top of the ones that are in the hold position. And all of these latches are open. All right, I'm going to come across very carefully. Make sure that yarn stays on the inside of that stripper bar. All right, I'm just going to take a look here. Make sure that yarn catches, which it did. I'm just going to pull it slowly and carefully across. Might have to pull out and hold on this yarn a little bit. All right, looks good. We did have a few spots where this picked up the yarn. We can start to pull this tight, pull that a little bit tighter here. All right, I'm gonna come back and fix that one, but this looks pretty good. Now we have our new yarn in on this side. All right. We're going to keep this one here, but we'll weave it in when we come back this other way. All right, now we're doing our second pass with the new yarn. All right, and now we can weave in this tail. All right, we'll do a similar thing where we pull these needles out. Put them back in the knitting position. I've seen people, they either start at the front or the first one or the second one. I like to start on the second one, and we're doing the same thing, over, under, over, under. And do one more so that we end on the up. All right.